Alrighty then. We've got the mic set up. There's a cat in my chair. Let's see how this goes. Hey up folks, Darkstorm 2 Bad here, and the topic of this video is whether or not it's time to cancel culture. And the answer may surprise you. I mean, unless you expect the answer to be yes. Yes, it's time to cancel it. Get rid of it. That's it. I've been Darkstorm 2 Bad, thanks for coming to my TikTok, and I'll see you later. Only joking. It's good for morale. Much like most of my more intellectual thoughts, this unveiled itself while I was in the shower. How do autists shower? Same as you, Normie. First we get nice and wet, then where does the ideas come from? Anyway, when it comes to seeing things that people have posted online, there are several questions you should ask yourself before deciding said person is a piece of shit. Hey YouTube, can I describe someone as a piece of shit yet? How long's the vid been? Ah well. Locally speaking, the questions are as follows. Question the first. When was the post made? Question the second. Was the person or post merely a product of the times? Question the third. Does this person hold the same ideals in the present? There has been many a time where celebrities and content creators have been thrust into the spotlight for less than savoury reasons. Mainly for reasons such as sexist, racist, or transphobic depictions. There are also many reactions to said situations. You get those who flat out stop using such depictions in future works, those who censor or rework their past works. If I remember correctly, Warner Brothers left their racist works intact, but added a disclaimer that stated that removing said content is the same as saying it never happened at all. Of course, you also get those who just say sod off and keep doing what they're doing. In this case, there are a couple of bonus questions. Is their content dehumanizing? And do you fit in their target audience? For a more in-depth look on what makes a dehumanizing joke, feel free to check out a previous vid of mine. What is comedy's job really? The abridged explanation is that dehumanizing content serves to treat a group of people as less than human to make them easier to oppress. Like, treat black people as savages, Asian people as bipedal calculators, or fat people as sinners with no self-control. As for whether or not you're their target audience, I think it can get a bit tricky. Yes, we as a species should strive to do better, but there will always be people who perhaps aren't quite ready for that yet. They should strive to change, but shouldn't they be able to have a giggle or two while they do so? If you've come out of a bad relationship, laugh at a few ex-marriage or breakup jokes. I mean, you're seeking comfort in mocking them based on their actions. Just remember that in order to heal, you need to move on. Don't walk into misery, unpack and live there. It will definitely be a problem if you allow these kinds of jokes to set you in their ways. Now, as a kid growing up in England in the mid-80s to noughties, I've made fun of girls, fat people, Pakistani people, gay people, trans people, and why? Well, because I didn't know any better. Everyone around me was doing the same thing. Then secondary school rolled around, and there were shitheads who found plenty of reasons to make fun of me. I did learn a bit from that about how crappy it feels, but unfortunately, I did still pick on others due to peer pressure and being thankful for the few times the negative attention wasn't on me. Those times felt good because, for just a brief moment, nobody was treating me poorly. But do you know what else results in you not being treated poorly? Not hanging around with pieces of shit. People who saw me as a piece of shit didn't want to be around me. I stopped hanging around with pieces of shit. And as I've grown and matured, I've learned valuable lessons and cultivated friendships with like-minded people. Anyway, before I continue on this tangent, people changing can sometimes work better through gradual change rather than cold turkey. when you look at things globally, you realise that other cultures have their own way of doing things, and that many are learning and evolving the same way that you are. Surprising, I know. Looking at Japan, for example, while the likes of Mr. Popo and Jinx remind Westerners of rather unfortunate times in race relations, they were actually inspired by Gonguro, a fashion trend among the Japanese youth at the time. In fact, Jinx also took inspiration from geisha girls, if I remember correctly. While anything racial involving those two is thrown into question, and they were eventually changed, even if the only permanent change was to Jinx, I offer no excuse to Commander Black's design. I get it. The lips of our black friends are generally more pronounced, and they contrast more with darker skin than they do lighter skin. But must they be so exaggerated? Then again, Commander Black was designed in the 80s, so maybe... Oh geez. As far as Dragon Ball goes, the only non-human dark-skinned character without exaggerated lips is Oob. Still, Pokemon does a lot better in that regard, and I don't see very many stereotypical depictions of racially different people in modern anime. Though, Mr. Kohei will always have a special place in my heart.
Hey, fucking cowboy, fucking cowgirl, how the fuck are you doing?
The reason I mention Japan is because of a disturbing trend I've noticed that I hereby name cultural dissonance. In this example, the Japanese language has the word nigeru. Ni-ge-ru, which means to flee. So, unless I'm mistaken, nigeru! Achere! Means run! I meant away! Now, unfortunately, nigeru sounds like, well, something else to Western audiences. Much like how the word Negro, which has been used a lot throughout history to refer to black people in derogatory ways, is derived from the literal Spanish word for the colour black, and it's pronounced negro. Here's where the problem lies. With things like cultural appropriation blowing up, people, ironically or otherwise, will end up calling for such words to be banned across the board, essentially saying, we made this word offensive in our culture, so you can no longer use it in yours. One culture is innocently using words they have done for centuries, with no offensive context whatsoever, but another culture wants it banned because of problems that they themselves caused. Cultural dissonance. So, not satisfied with cancelling people from what they've said or done in the past, even if said people condemn those actions in the present, now we have fools wanting to mess around with other cultures because their ideals don't mesh. Hopefully these other cultures will just tell the West to piss off. I mean, Spain could find another word to mean black. Maybe Japan could develop a new word to mean run away. Or maybe people could just stop using these words in derogatory ways. Guess which option's more morally sound? Oh. And anybody who believes I'm being paranoid or talking out of my fat, fragrant arse should look into the history of the swastika and its Buddhist origins. This is starting to descend into insanity, but then again, that's what cancel culture does. Now, are there pieces of shit that shouldn't use a platform to poison your minds? Of course there are. Are you an anti-Semitic tyrant who believes that only people of a particular race and look are the way of the future? If so, you should be cancelled. Are you an entire organisation who believes that certain people are a problem that needs to be cured, or one that can only be culled? If so, you should be cancelled. Are you an insufferable person who can't distinguish fantasy from reality and are easily influenced by people into doing deplorable things? If so, you should be cancelled, and those who manipulate you should be taken with you. For people who have simply been products of their time, or just haven't known better, they can be educated and change their minds. That's something a lot of people online can't seem to grasp. Opinions are not set in stone. If people have done wrong in the past and are willing to change and rehabilitate themselves, of course they should be forgiven. That is, after they've repaid their debt to society. If the damage has already been done as far as you're concerned, and you feel like you can't enjoy a person's work anymore, then that's fine. Forgiveness doesn't mean forcing yourself back in there. Just don't keep calling someone a dickhead if they're taking the necessary steps to not be a dickhead anymore. If you do, then I gotta say it, you're the one being a dickhead. Don't be a dickhead, dickhead. If people are being remorseless pieces of shit and refuse to change, then by all means, stop listening to them, block them, report them, cut off their funding. Don't allow them to profit off hatred. Let them go find a retail job or something. Not a managerial role, just same level as me, a till monkey. Let's see them act all high and mighty when they're as low as I am. Don't vilify those who piss you off some 20 years ago and have modified their behaviour so it doesn't happen again. And don't come after people simply for having views that you don't like. If you see a cis-het white male, and a cis-het white male who also happens to be a TERF, cancel the TERF. Has it sunk in yet? Good. I'm getting tired. Too tired to do my usual outro. With that being said, I've been Docs on Too Bad. Thanks for coming to my tit talk, and I'll see you later.